Well, hello. Another episode of Crashing In Series 3. And today I'm joined by two lads from Dublin that are on a band called Emily 7. Hope you all enjoy today's episode. And if you do, please give this episode a like and give it a share to friends and family who might be into Crashing In podcast. All I want to say, because this episode's a bit of a long one, I don't want to drag on for too long, is thank you to the band for joining me for today's episode. And please, people, follow this band on their social media pages so you can keep in tune with a documentary that's coming out on Friday. Before I go, keep in tune for, I think it's the next episode with Goddamn. And yeah, please like and subscribe, and see you all later, and enjoy today's episode.
I'm Scott. I'm Kyle, and we are Emily 7, a two-piece rock band from Dublin. I'm 21 and I'm guitar and vocals. We're brothers, if anyone didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm Scott, I'm 17 and I'm percussion in the band, the odd bit of backing vocals. But I'm currently studying music production in Ballyfermot College.
Yeah, we've been a band, we're gigging just over 2 years now, and probably been a band that goes to 2.5 years. It's always only ever been the two of us, so just keeping busy non-stop, constantly gigging and then recording and releasing bits and pieces here and there, and we're getting ready to release a documentary on Friday, Surviving the Virus.
And we've been involved in the music scene. Our first gig was on February 2nd, 2018, so if you like to call that the starting point of when we got into the kind of independent music scene. So be it.
And the two of us, I don't know, it wasn't ever a grand scheme that we wanted to be in a band together or anything. The two of us just love music. We're from a very musical household, not in the sense nobody else in our house plays instruments, but my mum and dad are mad into music, so ever since a young age I was always just listening to whatever my dad was listening to and robbing the CDs and that was everything from fucking Queen to Oasis to the Bee Gees. It's always been kind of a healthy balance of different types of music I've been into, I suppose.
I remember my dad, he's always had a huge kind of record and CD collection, and I remember one of my kind of first memories of getting into music, I remember robbing his Oasis What's the Story Morning Glory CD, because I loved the song So Sally Can Wait. This is what we called it. But and I also loved the Hey Teacher, Leave Them Kids Alone song, which was obviously another Brick in the Wall part 2 on the wall. We were just always kind of reared around music, chances are you step into our house and someone will be playing music, whether it be my mum, dad or sister,
I started playing guitar when I was about 14, 15, and that's all I ever done with it, just playing guitar in my room and then scribbling songs and that. But as I said, we were never in any other bands, and then Scott randomly got a drum kit and we were out in the shed one day and I was just I wrote a few songs, you want to play them together? And that was literally how it started. It was as simple as that, but it was never meant to be a two-piece. We were always, when we started looking for other people, but
we just never really found anyone that kind of fitted in, Yeah. But we started playing guitar. I remember in my school there was a guitar club in Coyle, wasn't it? And I just wanted something to do at lunchtime. So we went along and I learned how to play 4 chords on guitar. But I remember then I don't know, I just got kind of fed up with guitar. I just didn't feel myself progressing no matter how much I practice, you know. But and then I just kind of stopped with instruments, and I don't know why, but for some reason I came into like a bit of money, and I seen a cheap drum kit on like adverts, and I don't know, I really don't know why I bought it. I was never interested in drums. I was never interested in drummers. I don't know. I just think that they were a cool instrument. I thought they were unusual. You know, there's so many people going around that can play, you know, Wonderwall on guitar. I said, yeah, but how many of us can play it on drums? So yeah, no, I just thought kind of stand out. So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, like, as I said, I don't think it was never like when you got the drum kit and I had the guitar. It wasn't a thing all of a sudden, let's start a band. It wasn't like that at all. Like, we'd be literally in the shed making noise. It wasn't even probably music at that stage. It was just like a very loud guitar and a very loud drum kit. But just as time went on, as we said, it was just like, oh, I have a few songs that I wrote, do you want to try them out? And then we just start rehearsing and that was kind of the later half of 2017, and then start gigging in early 2018.
When I was starting to play drums, I remember just listening to kind of music to find out kind of different, I don't even know what you'd call it. I was just listening to see if I could learn how to play. And I was just taking bits of songs and saying, oh, I can play this bit from that song. And I remember the first song I kind of felt confident playing was the Rolling Stones' Almost Here You Saw You. It was a simple, like, 4/4 beat, you know, and I felt deadly after that. And I remember then I tried to learn Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I learned that, and I was like, well, if I can play this, you know, what else can I play? And I just started kind of listening to music, you know, going out, sticking my headphones on and just playing, just sticking my playlist on shuffle and playing along to whatever came on. And I think through listening to so many different types of music, I kind of developed my own style of playing, and that's what can be heard in our music.
Yeah, I think the first gig, like, I think at that stage we'd been a band as such and rehearsing for about 4 or 5 months probably, and while we were rehearsing we put clips of us doing acoustic versions of our songs in our shed onto Facebook, and it was Scott that kind of got the first gig as such. Like,
yeah, I remember, like, for the whole of 2017 we were like, right, we'll rehearse and try and get our act together. Whether we did that or not, you know, that's a bit arguable, you know. But yeah, I remember we got the first gig in like Fibbers, and I thought it was going to, like, you know, be this big huge thing, a big sold out venue with fucking loads of people singing songs, etc. It's not like that at all. It's kind of, I wouldn't say heartbreaking, but it's like, you know, you look out into the crowd and there's like 10 people there, and you're, you know, playing your life out on the stage, and, you know, 2 of them people being your man and dad, and it's just kind of like, you know, it's a bit disheartening, but I don't think we ever let that get to us. I kind of think we all...
well, like, that was the first gig.
Yeah, it was...
I don't remember much about it. I remember you got that gig and it was deadly, like, a good few of our mates and that, as you said, our family and all, obviously. But
I think I was 14. No, what age was I? I was 14, 15. 15, that's what it was. I was 15.
yeah, and it was just, I can't actually remember much about the gig itself. I remember kind of the build up, and obviously it's that excitement, like your first gig and all. But the thing I do remember, like, at the time, we were that kind of, not unprepared, but we didn't know what it'd be like, so I had to keep, for certain songs I literally had to plug out guitar pedals and plug another one in manually. And whilst I was doing that, Scott would be on the mic, and I remember you were saying something and someone heckled something. And one of the other bands that were playing, Scott was saying something on the mic and someone heckled him. Scott stopped what he was saying and just looked over. He looked at the fella dead in the eye and he was like, what the fuck are you saying? And I was just kind of like, alright, this is it.
Yeah, it was a bit, you know, I don't know, it was just, you know, anyone fucking says anything to me, you know, or fucking, even in real life, whether I'm on stage or in the street, someone says something to me, I'll say it back, you know.
Well, the difference in the first gig to where we are now, like, you have to understand, like, Scott's a drummer and I'm a guitarist, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can play as a duo. Like, if you take any guitarist and any drummer and just tell them, right, that's it, no more instruments, just the two of you have to make a band, Like, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, you have to fill out that wall of sound and all. So it took us a long time. So the first, I'd say, 5-6 months, I don't even look looking back at videos at that time because the sound was awful. Just because we knew in our head the songs were really good, but we didn't know how to make them sound good live. And just through trial and error, like, we eventually built up guitar tone, and then Scott altered his drumming, like he played the toms more so, just to fill out that bassy kind of aspect. So it was a lot of trial and error, especially
like, for a
starting
lot of
off.
2018, we kind of look at that as our kind of, you know, finding our feet, finding our sound and all, you know. And a lot of them gigs, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that they were great, you know, they were fucking shite. A lot of them, looking back, especially on videos, you know, there was, you know, guitars with no effects. No, well, not many effects, and there was drums on hi-hats, and there was no sound whatsoever. And I don't think we were as confident as we are today.
I just, as I said, it was like, because you play drums the way a normal drummer play, and then I play normal guitar, but when you have to try and they're the only two instruments and make a duo band, it's a lot fucking different.
I think definitely we did develop our sound a lot, like, just because the fact that we had no bass player, we had to, you know, it wasn't a thing that we had the option, you know, we had to develop our sound, and that was that. We had to, you know, kind of adapt to being a two-piece, which was a bit hard at the start, but I think we're after successfully, you know, making a good bit of progress.
Like, obviously a lot of people did kind of shut us down at the start, because we'd literally have people like, oh, you're at a two-piece, you just have to do something better, whether that be get more members or not. But at the same time, we'd a lot of encouraging people around us. Like, we'd go to a lot of gigs, and some promoters would take a shine to us because, I don't know whether they liked us as people or they thought the songs had potential, but they gave us the chance to keep coming back every week and playing, and that allowed us to develop our songs. So I think over time that built our confidence, and at the same time, the fact they were encouraging, they'd also give us advice as to how we can maybe flesh out the
I
sound.
remember it wasn't their first gig, but we got a contact, well, we got an email address for someone who ran like an open mic kind of thing in the International Bar, and we had never been in the International Bar in our lives, and, you know, we were expecting like this big music venue. And I remember me, Kyle and my dad walked into this place, you know, we arrived half an hour early, kind of thinking that we'd have to make a good impression, and we walked down, there was like two people there eating stew in this room that was no bigger than a kitchen. And I remember then the fella who we were looking for, Tom was his name, and he came down, and there was a full drum kit in this tiny room, and Kyle had his electric guitar, and the sound was god fucking awful. But he kind of, you know, I think he knew it was bad, but he seen that we wanted to play music, and he never stopped us from just getting up and making noise, whether it be good noise or bad noise, and he always kind of pushed us to kind of keep coming back, and it was very kind of welcoming, and it did give us a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and I think it's one of them things as well, like, you can play guitar in your bedroom and think it's unbelievable, and you can go to rehearsal room with a few lads and think it's fucking deadly, but playing live is a completely different kettle of fish altogether. So we're really grateful for them people who gave us them types of chances.
I think the gigs today are definitely very different to what they were at the start. We weren't prepared, at the start, we didn't know really, but I think now we have a bit more of a feel for like performing live.
Yeah, sure, it's fucking over 200 gigs we've done in the
Yeah.
space of 2 years, so hopefully we're doing something right.
I think most of them were in 2018, and I if I'm right, most of them were in 2018.
Well, 2019. We'd only, at the end 2018, from February to December, there was 45 gigs.
And a lot of them would have been shite.
I think the best thing about gigs, like, there's a lot of good things about gigs. Like, obviously, when you see people really liking your music and singing back and dancing, like, there's no better feeling than that. Like, you actually can't describe it. But at the same time, like, I love meeting new people and kind of networking, and then it's a completely new social environment. So there are many good aspects about gigs.
I do like, my personal favourite thing about gigs, it's a bit opposite to what Kyle would say. Like, obviously it's great, you know, a big crowd singing their songs and all that jazz, but I like going to, say, nights where there isn't many people there, and I like to see how a lot of people kind of see. I feel it's very easy to perform in front of huge crowds, but I think it kind of separates the boys from the men when you go into a realm with no people and you have to go up and perform to like 3 people as if you are performing to 300 people. I think it's very interesting. You know, as I said, it does separate the boys from men, and I love getting up and acting as if there's, 300,000 people or whatever there. If there's 2 people there, I'll act the same way as I would if there was 200.
I suppose the fact we've gigged so much, like we've literally played to a room with 2 people, but we've also played the fucking sold out venues and all that. So I think it doesn't daunt us anymore. Like
a lot of the time, we do kind of, I wouldn't say miss, but reminisce about the early days, because I think that was a very, I don't know, I wouldn't like it was a special kind of time or something.
There was a certain element of innocence about it.
Yeah, there was a lot of innocence to it, but I think now that's just after changing into a completely new animal.
Yeah, now it's just all debauchery and we're egotistical.
2 wankers.
We've supported a lot of bands, especially over in Dublin, but I suppose the most reputable band, if you like, that we've supported was Twisted Wheel. I don't actually know how that came about. I think it was just right place, right time. Someone just got in touch and said, Twisted Wheel were coming over, do we want to support? And obviously we were like, yeah.
Like, the way I just see the question here, it's like rock and roll stories. Like, obviously there is rock and roll stories.
We can't tell.
That as well. Well, I will tell them now in a minute. But I think what a lot of people don't see that night there was a lot of fucked up things. Like, that was a crazy night, but like, no one seeing what happened that day. Like, I had to lug a drum kit from Temple Bar up to Whelan's on last minute, and I remember thinking, how am I going to do this?
Just to put into perspective, that's about a half an hour walk.
Yeah, and oh Jesus, and it was, the hard part wasn't actually getting it up to Whelan's, but the hard part was when it got into Whelan's and we had to take it upstairs, the drum kits, and there was only 2 of us. It was only myself and Jamie, the manager, and yeah, that was really hard.
Like, I suppose it's one of them things, like, obviously we've always loved them as a band, like Twisted Wheel, but it's kind of it's a bit weird then when you support people you like, because it's not as if you can be awestruck or something like that. You kind of have to be professional, but it was deadly because the lads are all bang on, and they really liked us, and we had a great laugh and all backstage, a few drinks, and then they were back over in Ireland a few months later supporting Liam Gallagher, and they sorted us out with guest list and all that. So
we met up with them and had a few drinks, but I remember one thing about that Whelan's gig that kind of stuck out most for me, where I just turned around and said, this is fucked up. I remember looking at the window and one of our mates was smoking a joint out of it, and I was just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, this wouldn't really be a rock and roll story, but I remember I always liked the band Touts. I don't know why. There was something about them. I really liked their music, and I don't know, I just thought they were really cool. And I remember I met them first when Paul Weller was playing the Olympia and they supported them. This was before the band or anything, and then I met them a few more times when they were supporting Blossoms, etc. And we got the opportunity to go up and record a few demos with Matthew the singer. And I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. It was like a thing kind of developed a kind of, first name basis kind of relationship, and I just thought it was really cool to go from like a small kid looking at this band thinking, yeah, yous are the bollocks, to going up and recording with them and going out, having a few drinks with them. I thought it was just really cool, they're really nice people.
Yeah, like, we are grateful for all the acts we've supported. Like, we love support acts because it gives us the opportunity to play to a new crowd. But at the same time, it gets us friendly with the band we've supported. Like, as Scott said, we didn't support Touts as such, but we were up with them recording a few songs, and now we're on a friendly basis, like, texting each other the odd time. The same even with Twisted Wheel, like, to keep in touch over Instagram and all that. So, just looking to see what happens once, obviously, the coronavirus thing ends and the world get back to normal, especially being a band. So, looking forward to seeing what happens after that.
A lot of people ask about how we came up with the name Emily 7. And God's honest truth is that it means fuck off. It just sounds good. I don't think it needs a meaning.
Yeah.
It just sounds cool.
Just one of them things. It sounds good and it looks good, but people are always kind of disappointed when we say there's no meaning behind it. So we might just start putting random verses from the Bible and saying it's related to that or something.
Something like that. The satanic verses.
The first time recording, see, that was interesting because the first time we ever went in to record, as I was saying earlier, we were rehearsing songs in our shed and we thought it was fucking the best thing ever and all. And to keep in context, this was that long ago. We didn't have a name or anything, never played a live gig. So when we went in to record, the sound engineer, like, we hadn't got any reference, we hadn't played live, we didn't have a name.
We didn't even have any other demos, really, you know.
So we went in to record and they were fucking awful. And that's no fault of the sound engineers because we didn't even know what we wanted them to sound like.
I think we
It was a kick in the balls, really, because as much as good as we thought they were before recording, it was kind of like, fuck, we have to up our game,
yeah,
being honest.
And obviously, like, when we got the tracks back, we thought, oh my god, these are great. But, you know, they were, looking back on it, they were shy. And that was that, like.
Like, the only way to put it into perspective, it's like us going into record without ever playing a gig is the equivalent of fucking putting some random sham playing the Champions League final and he's never kicked a ball in his life. Like, that's an easy way of boiling it down, essentially.
Yeah.
And I remember for a while, because I wasn't happy with the sound of the tracks, like, it kind of put me off the idea of recording because I thought there was something wrong with us. I was like, fuck, obviously it's a problem with us. Like, anytime we go into record, it's gonna sound like this.
And I do remember, like, for a good while, I remember thinking, oh, well, how come other bands can do it, but we can't? And that genuinely kind of did make me feel like, fuck, is there something wrong here? But I think after recording lately and all, you know, and kind of educating ourselves a bit more on the production side of things, you know, especially since I started college doing music production, I think I learned how to kind of communicate better with the sound engineers and, like, the producers, and kind of, you know, I did learn a lot about the production side of things. It's something that I'm very interested in, and I think, you know, looking back on them first demos, it was no one's fault but our own.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I remember, like, that's the thing, they were demos, so they were never intended to be released or anything. But I remember, because obviously, as well as that, we knew it didn't sound the best, but it was still kind of that giddy feeling almost, if you like. So we came home and we had the tracks and, you know, burned them onto blank CDs and we're giving out, like, I was giving them to people in college and all, and Scott was giving them to his mates. And obviously I think us thinking they were the best things ever, I can only imagine what the people listening thought.
Yeah, they probably said it was good out of sympathy.
Yeah, I hope the fuckers burned them all. But I remember, no, it was really cool because I remember someone on our Instagram had seen that we were recording, and remember, this was very long ago, it was a fella in Scotland, and he got in touch and he was like, oh, can you send me a demo CD? So he's probably one of the only people who has them early demos other than us. Like, we have most of them and they're never ever getting released. So
that's kind of my OCD thing about being in a band. I like to keep diaries on everything that we do, and I like to keep posters from everything we do, wristbands, anything, and I like to date everything, and just to have it. I have 2 big storage boxes full of me around.
Yeah, like the first track as such we ever released was our song These Days, and it's different to what we are. Like, essentially we describe ourselves as a rock band, but if you listen to that song, it's a very mellow song, but we'll always be grateful for that song because that opened up a lot of doors and gave us so many opportunities. Because I remember when we put that out originally acoustically on Facebook, a lot of people,
good response.
yeah, got an unbelievable response, and people were getting in touch being like, oh, this is a really good song, the lyrics are fucking good for 2 young fellas and all that, and that gave us a lot of opportunities and exposure. So
I think, you know, we did, I think we recorded 4 songs or something in the first days, right? And These Days was the only one that we felt was releasable quality. Even at that, that wasn't mastered or anything. We didn't get that.
I think that adds to the charm, though.
Yeah, I think it's like, it was just like a happy accident kind of one take kind of thing. And I don't know, I think kind of we released that and it was just a bit of a stroke of luck that it was actually, you know, it wasn't only us who thought it was good.
Yeah. To be fair, we never did. Like, it wasn't a thing. Like, it's a good song. Obviously, we're happy with all our songs, but the response I got when we initially put it out
Was not expected.
Minty's Indie Club, that was weird because
Strange kind of period in time. It was like we were in between, like, knowing what we wanted. Well, we did know what we wanted,
but we didn't know how to get it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a strange period in time because we had the live experience. I didn't have as much knowledge.
We had none because the last time you recorded, as you were saying, it was them demo sessions, and that through no fault of anybody's but ourselves, that put a bad thought in our head about recording, because we always thought if we'd go in and record, it'd sound like them original demos. But it just got to the stage, we were gigging that much, but we hadn't got any songs out other than These Days, which is a slow ballad almost. So we just kind of felt it was time to get some tracks together, the songs that were best received when we done them live. And when we went in to record, like, we went in and recorded 4 tracks in the one day, and looking back now, that was fucking
Suicide.
and it was just like, we were headstrong, and once again, through no fault of anybody's, like, definitely not the sound engineer, it was all ourselves, because we went in being very headstrong, being like, we're just gonna plug in our instruments and play like we do live. And like, we learned the hard way, it's not gonna record, like, the studio itself is another instrument and playing live is another animal, and that took us a long time to grasp. So obviously at the time we were happy with Minty's Indie Club, but we know the songs can sound better.
We had like a lot of live experience, but we were lacking in the studio side of things, and I think that really reflected on Minty's Indie Club.
Like there's a few of the like, I like the Stephanie on it and the Miss Elizabeth, but
Yeah.
I was very disappointed with the Stay, because I wasn't happy with me vocals.
I think on the whole thing, I don't think the vocals were as good as they could have been, and I think my drumming, listening back, was awful. Like I didn't use click tracks on it, and I couldn't at the time. And
I remember, like, it wasn't all, like, it's only kind of looking back now, because we have been in to record a few more songs that we'll talk about in a few minutes, but at the time we just felt we needed to get something out there, because we were playing this many gigs, but when people walked away from the gig, they'd come up to us and be like, oh, if there's anything out, and we'd kind of be like, no. So, but it was very good, because the EP launch, like, the EP, fucking, we recorded that, and then we'd organised an EP launch with some lads we know, fuzzed up, like Andy, Mick and the Hobby Man, and that whole project was very exciting. Like, we done the music video for Stephanie, then obviously the EP came out and there was a bit of hype, and then a few days after the EP came out we had the launch night, which sold out, and was kind of mind blowing for us, because that was the first headline gig we'd ever done.
yeah, I think it was like, I think the idea of Minty's Indie Club was a lot better than the EP itself. I think the whole kind of process of it and the hype that was there.
Yeah.
And I think, I do think people liked it. Like,
Yeah, to be fair, like, it got a good response in the sense that people were hocking their Instagram stories out of it. And it wasn't necessarily just our mates, like, there was a lot of people. And some people still even send us messages being like, God, I really like this song, that song, but obviously we know they can sound better. But it's just one of them things.
I think people as well, once we re-record them tracks, I think if we did release them again, it'd gain a lot more attention than Minty's Indie Club did.
Yeah, like, we have recorded more. Like, we went in to record, one of the songs on the EP is a song called Stay, and that's, to a certain extent, I'd say that's probably become our most popular song, because anytime we play it, whether it be in a room of 60 people or fucking a couple of 100 people, they always sing it back. So, that we'd always put it up on our Instagram and all, know people singing it back, so subconsciously people start knowing that song. And we done it on the EP, but I was fucking very disappointed with it, because my vocals weren't good and the guitar and all wasn't that good. So we went in and re-recorded that in Darkland Studio, where loads of bands record, like Vulpines and fucking Fontaines and lots of... See, the reason that we were attracted to Darklands and Dan, who works there, is because Vulpines are the two-piece, and that was one thing we were conscious about. We wanted to make recordings that, how do I say, they didn't...
We knew that the sound engineer and Dan in Darklands, we knew that
He'd get the sound.
He'd get the sound. We've heard off a lot of people, like, it kind of that we've met in the kind of music scene, that he is kind of the go-to man for a sound like us, and we did, it was kind of the obvious choice.
Yeah, and we recorded Stay, and that was the first time in a long time we'd been in the studio, and the amount that he taught us, like, obviously it's a two-piece, the song is the exact same, like, there's been no change structurally, but he was just like, oh, why don't you add a second guitar here, not as distorted, and it adds a nice bed. And we did, and there was fucking some mad effects on it, and the drum sound is really fucking cool.
Yeah, the drum kit in there is really really nice.
Yeah. So we recorded Stay, and that's been mixed and mastered, but we're just kind of, being honest, we're waiting on an appropriate time to release it because we don't think now would be the best time, because when we release the songs, we want people to be listening to them, enjoying them, having a good time with their mates and being out and all that, you know, and then we can be able to play gigs and people listen to the song, and it's just like, it's a hard time for everyone, and obviously as a band we're no different, so they are mixed and mastered and ready to go. We recorded another track, an acoustic song called Dundalk, with some mates of ours, Barry Murphy and Jer Foley, and that mixed and mastered as well. It sounds really good because it's different. It's almost folky kind of.
Yeah, it's like a folk song. See, the vibe I was going for, definitely in that song, I wanted it to sound like, you know, a song that you'd hear a lot of like trad musicians or something playing in the middle of a pub in Ballina or something, you know. But Stay, when going in, I wanted it to sound like a song, like an anthemic rock song. I wanted it to sound like a song that you could picture, like, you know, a full festival of people singing.
Yeah, which we achieved, to be fair. Like, we're extremely, extremely happy, and we can't wait for people to hear that. I know every band says that about a song they're about to release. Oh, this is the best work we've ever done and all that, but this genuinely is.
We went up to record a few demos in Derry, and I was actually really happy with how they turned out. One of our tracks, Everybody, and I don't know, it just sounds really good. But Matthew, who produced it, he helped us add a lot of things that weren't already in the song, and I think it does make it sound a lot better. So when the time comes that we do want to record it properly, I think he kind of gave us a lot of new ideas to add.
Yeah, so obviously as a band during this coronavirus epidemic and the lockdown period, because we were a band that thrived so much off gigging and playing live, as soon as you know, the lockdown was announced and the world got turned upside down, we just thought, because obviously as two brothers living in the same house, we just thought we'd spent the time wisely, and obviously we knew we couldn't be gigging, so we just write as much new material as possible. Like, obviously a lot of artists are live streaming on their social media and releasing new music, which is cool if that's what they want to do, but we just thought we'd spent the time better basically for writing new material that we can play as soon as the world gets back to normal, you know. And it never started out like, oh, we're going to release a documentary all about ourselves, this is the Emily Seven story, because that'd be kind of arrogant. Like, this is only the first chapter in whatever we end up doing as a band. It just so happened I got a camera and we were writing these songs, and I'd leave the camera recording in the background, and looking on the footage at the time, it just kind of came up with the idea it'd be cool to compile it into a documentary showing people how as artists we're coping during this.
Yeah, we're releasing it on this Friday, May 1st, and it'll be available on YouTube and Instagram TV.
Yeah, like, that's the main purpose behind it, if you like. It's just to basically show us as artists how we're coping. As I said, it's a horrible time for the world and people are coping different ways, but as two people in a band, we found the best way we'd be able to cope is just constantly writing new music.
Yeah, it's, you know, obviously there was a lot of, you know, people who are being affected much worse, but we're just showing what's relevant to us, I suppose, kind of how we're first-handedly affected. You know, it's not a sob story or anything like it. It's not like, oh, look at us, we're after being affected by this virus. It's more so to show kind of how we're coping and how we've adapted to living in lockdown. Hence the title, Surviving the Virus. It's how we're, you know, living our day-to-day lives as this horrible virus is ravaging the world.
Yeah, like, I think as of now, like on the 27th of March in Ireland, it was announced a lockdown of 2 weeks, and then that was extended by an extra 3 weeks. So in the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, we wrote 19 new songs, some of which are very different to what we've done before. Like, as we were saying, we would call ourselves like a rock pop band, if you like, but we're doing things that take us out of our comfort zone. Like, there's songs on pianos, there's kind of darker songs, there's your typical indie songs, dancey songs almost. So I think it's just been an interesting time because we didn't hold back on our influences, I think. So I'm just, hopefully the documentary, like, I don't know an impact I wanted to have as such, but it's just to show people how we are coping. Like as I said, some people want to do live streams, some people want to release new music, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But I think for us personally as a band, the most important thing has always been and will always be the music. So we're always trying to develop our sound, if you like.
I think it would be very easy for us to turn around and say, oh, we're going live at like 8 tonight, or you know, we're going to release a new track. But the way I'm kind of looking at it, you can do it at any time. I'm kind of looking, this is a very different time to what most people on earth have experienced, you know, especially in this country. So instead of doing something the same that you could do on a random, you know, any time out of virus, you know, what can only be done during this virus?
Yeah.
Document what you're doing during the virus. So that's what we decided to
and
do.
with the amount of time that we have, like obviously the country's on lockdown, so I can't be in work, Scott can't be in college, so we literally have 24 hours a day to kind of...
Bar the 2 hours I walk me dog.
we've a lot of time to kind of focus on writing these new songs, and it's been a good coping mechanism more than anything else, because it'd be very easy to...
I have to say though, this lockdown, like I remember when it started, I remember when all this so I was organising a gig with a few lads I know in college, and you know, it was for an event production module, and it was kind of just before kind of the schools and colleges got shut down. It was like a week or two before the country went into lockdown, but it was in the underground venue, and it was kind of this thing, oh, will it, won't it go ahead? And I remember I was kind of leading the whole thing. I was kind of the liaison between the rest of the group and the venue, and I remember kind of thinking, Jesus, is this like, is live music going to stop? Like, and I was thinking, is this kind of going to be the last gig for a good while? Now we weren't on the bill. There was a few other heads, but I remember then I got an email off college, and for a college that has a lot to do with, you know, music and has a lot of musicians, I got an email off the head of my course, and it was like, all college related gigs must be cancelled. And as soon as that was sent out, I was like, right, shit, this is going to have a serious effect on music. And then when, you know, big gigs started to get cancelled, I started to kind of get a bit worried. I didn't know how we were going to cope during this time, and I was getting very stressed out, and it wasn't bringing me down, but I was just very stressed, and I wouldn't say angry, but I was just pissed off, really. And yeah, I remember then we went into lockdown, and we just just focus on writing and trying new things, practicing. And I have to say, it is a lot better than what I thought it would be like, you know. It's not like fucking medieval lockdown or anything like it, where, you know, bring out your dead, there's someone going around in carts, you know. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it actually is, but, you know, I think this time is going a lot better than I thought it would for us.
Yeah, like the initial idea was basically kind of, I remember saying, we were just talking one day, just as the lockdown was announced, and I remember saying to Scott, I was like, it'd be interesting if we can just forget about any song we have already, and if we were to go out and write an Emily 7 album, if you like, just brand new songs no one else has heard. And that was the basis. And as I said, it just so happened I got a camera and was documenting us. This was before the idea of a documentary. And yeah, so that's how the idea came about, I suppose. Like, the documentary itself, like, we both shot that, and it was edited by us. Like, we didn't get in touch with anybody to do it for us. It was all done by ourselves. But obviously,
Michael White, he kind of he kind of shot and edited the music video for Stephanie for us.
Yeah,
and he done a good job on that. So we thought it'd be kind of good to get in touch.
Yeah, I basically made a couple of rough cuts for the documentary, and I'd sent them over to Mick. As Scott said, he'd done the music video for Stephanie for us, so I'd kind of be back and forth with him, sending him rough cuts, asking for his honest opinion and feedback, and he'd tell me ways I'd be able to tweak it just to make it that bit better. So yeah, we're really grateful for him taking the time out to kind of guide us with it. And then obviously there's a few photos in the documentary by some photographers we've worked with.
Peter O'Doherty, he takes the majority. He takes 95% of all our photos on social media. Well, our social media photos. So Yeah, a good few of Peter's photos are used.
The Hobby Man. We've worked with the Hobby Man a while now, so a good few of his photos. And a couple of others like Glenn Bollard, Liam Murphy. It just makes it look that bit better. So I'm more than grateful they've let us use the photos they've taken of us in the documentary, because it just makes it look that bit better, you know.
Also, the music that was used, there was
Oh yeah.
there was a clip of there was a snippet of this song we're planning to release, Dundalk, and that was mixed and recorded by both Ger Foley and Barry Murphy. And then the opening song, the first song that's used, was produced and mixed by Matthew Crossan from Tout. The coolest experience personally for me, in terms of music, the Christmas Eve busker. I really liked this year, well, 2019's one, because we got to get up and do one of our own songs, and it was really, really cool. It was like we are put in front of this crowd of a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people, and now you have 3 minutes to kind of make an impression.
Like, to put it into context, every year in Dublin on Christmas Eve on Grafton Street, Glenn Hansard organises a charity busk. And before we were in a band, we'd always go in on Christmas Eve just to look. Like, they'd have loads of acts, like obviously Glenn Hansard, fucking Hosier, The Script, U2, like so last year we done it the year before as well, and we fucking performed with Bono and The Edge from U2, which was surreal. Like, that was mad. We'd covered a Christmas song with them, and then that was 2018. Then Christmas just gone. Glenn Hansard let us go up on the stage in front of probably a few thousand people and let us sing our song Stay. So that was probably one of the proudest moments as a band, I suppose, to hear all them people singing it back to us. That was a bit surreal. But then there's obviously other little cool things about being in a band, like the people you meet more so. Like, we've met a lot of people
that we'd kind of class as, very close friends of ours now at this stage.
Yeah, like, that's funny. And then I suppose it makes your life that bit more interesting. Like, it'd be very boring fucking just working 9 to 5 and with nothing else. It's like, right, fair enough if you work during the day. Every night we're out doing this, you know.
I think kind of not a cool memory for me, but I remember, I don't know how to describe it. It was a very strange time coming to the end of school, because the end of my school, Coyle finished a few years ago, but I remember coming up to the end of 6th year, big final exams and all coming, and I was living this whole other life. Everyone else around me was, focusing on these big exams coming, and I was living this whole other life in the night time that no one else knew about. It was
like a vampire.
Yeah, it was like kind of it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. It was like I was going into school and I was bollocksed from the night before, and I just wasn't focusing, especially towards the end, and it was just always, it was funny. It was a funny time, and it was a funny period in time.
I remember the funniest thing, I remember saying it to you, like, we'd literally be only at this stage, the story I'm about to tell, we'd only be gigging a month, if even, and we had a gig on St. Patrick's Day. Obviously in Dublin, that's a big thing, like, fucking, all the pubs and all are rampant, so we played our first gig to, like, a very big crowd, so we were riding high from that, and I remember going home, and my mates were in the pub, so I went out with them. I remember I went to the pub with my mates, and we were all sitting there, and in the corner, there was, like, these kind of scaldy chavs, if you like, and they kept kind of tapping each other on the shoulder and pointing over at me. I was like, oh bollocks, what have I done? And they kept doing it, and I was getting fucking sketchy. I was like, oh, here, they're gonna come over. They keep looking and pointing at me. So eventually I seen them getting up and walking over towards me, and I remember just turning to me mate and I was like, bollocks, something's gonna happen. I remember one of them coming over and he's like, Emily 7 these days is a tune, man. I have it downloaded on my phone. I remember just like, yeah, this is funny.
I remember kind of a good few bits like that happened. Like, I remember like just after random gigs we'd be at, and I remember there was us walking out Catfish in the Bottom, and there was these two young ones walking down the road, and I kind of heard them mumbling. They were a bit in front, they kept kind of looking back. Now, I thought it was just because it was a good looking chap. But, and they were kind of like, is it them, is it not? And she was like, oh, are you Emily Seven? I was like, yeah. And it was just, I know, it's that cool thing. It was like being noticed for what I'm trying to be noticed for, you know, instead of, you know.
I remember one of the first gigs. Yeah, it was definitely one of the first gigs in any way, but I remember me and a few of my mates stayed out after drinking. I remember Paddy was there as well. Paddy's our number one fan, who's a little bit older than us. But
Paddy's one of our best mates.
yeah, I remember there was these girls there, and me and my mates, like, obviously got friendly enough with them, and I remember I was with one of them, and I just felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Paddy. And he was like, oh, if yous are getting into this rock and roll lifestyle, I'd need a piece of me action as well. The groupies, where are my groupies? I remember just like, this is going to be funny. So yeah, the documentary is out on Friday. Like, it's just one of them things. Like, it wasn't a massive plan behind it as such. It was just one of them things we thought it'd be interesting to document how we're coping basically through this, and show the songwriting process, and basically show what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, there's some scenes as simple as fucking Scott making a cup of tea and me shaving, but that's literally what it is. We're two brothers in the same house.
Showing our kind of day-to-day lives, kind of showing an insight to our lives that people haven't seen before, and also kind of an insight to us besides music as well. It shows that we're normal people. We're not just these shams who go gigging and all that. We're normal people. We do normal people things.
Yeah, like, it's out on Friday and I can't wait for people to see it. Hopefully they enjoy it. Like, we've enjoyed kind of the whole process of it all, and can't wait for people to hear these new songs.
Something inspiring.
Yeah, something inspiring.
Inspiring. I don't know, like, I know we're not huge or anything, and I'm not going to say that we are, but I definitely do think if anyone had any kind of, you know, aspirations in kind of the art field, whether that be music, poetry, you know, even visual arts, such as drawing, painting and all that, I do think the best thing to do is just do it. Like, there's a, you know, you can be the best musician in the world, and, you know, you can be stuck in your room all the time, and you can be playing this, but no one's going to hear it and appreciate it for what it is. So I think get involved with your local music scene, mingle a lot with people, and
Just a whole nother social aspect to your life.
I think really anything is possible if you play your cards right.
Yeah, I think one of the things as well, like, obviously it's fucking unbelievable being in a band, it's what we live for, but just regards to advice and all, it's very easy to kind of
get demotivated and kind of
that's not what I was going to say at all.
I think it will, sorry, right, but I think, like, it will be very easy, you know, to play a first gig to a crowd of, you know, 10 people or whatever and get disheartened, but never get disheartened. Always just keep moving forward, whether it's small steps or big steps, just keep doing it, because eventually you will see some progress.
I could just go, if someone wants anything in life enough, they will do it. So if you want to, just keep striding forward. But that's what I was going to say. Like, when, like, as we've said, we've gigged a lot, and it's very easy to kind of get caught into the trap. Like, most places that you play, be fucking in a drinking environment as such. So it's just, it'd be very easy to kind of every night of the week to start drinking and all that, and then you might think it's grand at the start, like, it's only a few drinks before I perform, after I perform, but if you're doing that 4 or 5 nights a week, like, that's not good on you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, and it catches up, and that's one thing kind of took us a while to adapt. Not adapt, like, I'm not saying we're alcoholics, but it's very easy to get caught into the trap, I'm only having 2 or 3 pints, but when you're doing that 4 or 5 nights a week, like, it does slowly catch up on the performance. So it's just one thing we've learned to kind of
stick away from that, definitely before you're setting anyway.
Yeah, like, once you do a good set and people like it, if you want to do whatever after, that's grand, but it's just to be careful not to get caught into that trap, I suppose, because it's very easy to do so.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've been Emily 7.
And thanks very much for listening, and thanks for having us.
And Surviving the Virus is out on Friday, and you can watch it on our YouTube and Instagram TV.
I might fuck it up, but I guess it's now